Here's the exact reason why wealthy people that are already wealthy won't buy 0.21 Bitcoin. And this is also the exact reason why you should, okay? This is why current wealthy fiat people won't buy it and why you should, right? And I guess it comes down to like risk and reward, which doesn't sound like that much. Like it's not rocket science. None of this is rocket science. It's that people that are already wealthy, they don't need to hit a home run. They don't need to take on more risk. They don't need to shake up what they are doing. Or I should say, they don't want to. They don't want to. They're busy, like they're comfortable. They already have what they have. And they also already have like preconceived opinions about what Bitcoin is that they aren't willing to like shake differently. And if they do shake it differently, then they're going to express the Bitcoin exposure just through the ETF or through brokerage accounts that they already have open. I've recently gotten into like a different kind of corner of YouTube about like Bitcoin income funds. And so all these ETF covered call funds that produce income on top of the Bitcoin ETFs. And it's funny, I saw one yesterday where the guy like who he's specifically like, you know, follows income funds, not just Bitcoin funds, just income funds. And he's 1 year into retirement and he's telling people about his portfolio of being 1 year in retirement. That's a different part of YouTube that I've like never experienced before. I've never found that before. But then I saw him at a conference where he was interviewing a Bitcoin influencer about the Bitcoin income funds. And he's starting to pull Bitcoin income funds into his dividend investing kind of strategy in retirement because the volatility of Bitcoin is so much higher. And so the income produced on the covered calls is so much higher on Bitcoin funds. And so that's why like that profile of person is not going to go out there and buy 0.21 Bitcoin on an exchange of the physical underlying. They're not going to go, at least at the beginning. Maybe this guy will because he's falling down the rabbit hole a little bit farther and he's like, you know, watching Bitcoin media and things like that. But then his followers are not most likely going to go and express like a Bitcoin long position in the form of like true Bitcoin like on-chain ownership, okay? But you have the ability to do that. 0.21. There's a 21 million hard cap on Bitcoin. That's there because Bitcoin uniquely doesn't have a public founder. It's the most successful open source project in the world. It's the most credibly neutral asset in the world, which is why consensus is building that it has the ability to replace fiat money as the world reserve currency. Companies are stacking it, countries are stacking it, individuals are stacking it. But then current wealthy individuals and kind of legacy finance wealthy individuals are using the ETF to have Bitcoin long exposure. But you have the ability to be in the top 1% of literal on-chain underlying Bitcoin ownership in the world right now, still for an inconsequential like amount of fiat. And how do I get to the top 1%? Take 21 million divided by 0.21, that gets you 100 million people. There's 8 billion people in the world, top 100 million Bitcoin holders. And again, most likely higher because of the amount that corporations and countries and individuals have already stacked. And so highlighting this to say that like the primary person that gets referred to this channel is 35 to 55, living in the United States, referred from a different crypto channel. Crypto investors are underexposed to the core story of Bitcoin. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to turn the tide. That 0.21 is a significant amount of a core position in Bitcoin. And so if you're below that, but you're still investing in other crypto, I would just say it's a little bit like out of weight and out of whack. And if you are like kind of like, I'm a little bit competitive. I'm a little bit competitive. And so this whole concept of like the high upside of being in the top 1% of like the largest growing monetary network in the world that has a chance to like have such an impact on society, like a societal level, and have such high returns at kind of a personal level. And I'm seeing how traditional finance retiree folks are warming up to Bitcoin but not buying the physical underlying. That's just such a great setup for this like middle bucket of 35 to 55 like W2 earners like in the suburbs with kids, like with like to really get dialed in on what is happening in Bitcoin and crypto, and don't just have a vague, don't like move beyond kind of the vague, like, yeah, Bitcoin's fine, but like other cryptos better, like, wasn't it supposed to not be like for the government, and now the ETFs, like, I don't know, like, so I'm gonna buy this like low cap other thing, or like I really believe in alternate L1s. Like the, another signpost for this is like I was watching the Solana co-founder interview on the All In like conference show, and they asked him about Bitcoin at the end, and like this is what impresses me about like Solana developers and kind of the Solana ecosystem is they're very pro Bitcoin. Like they're very kind of self-aware. In my opinion and in my kind of experience, Solana investors are a lot more self-aware about the role that Bitcoin plays than Ethereum. And so that's an example of like it takes a long time to like get to that position, and you could express a different position, but like it takes a long time to get to that position. And so it's just another signpost that I think having a core Bitcoin position makes a lot of sense, coming from a TradFi angle and coming from a crypto native angle. And here's the kind of stuff to watch out for. Like Fidelity. Like I've talked positively about Fidelity. I think you should, like if you don't have a Fidelity crypto account, I think it's a great account. Like, and the fact that they can be joint accounts, and so you have the ability to kind of work it into your personal finances with your, like if you have a life partner, that's a great way to do it, because a lot of exchanges don't have that feature of having a true on-chain joint account, physical Bitcoin that you can withdraw. But they list 3 cryptos: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That still shows that like how much confusion there still is. Like Litecoin is not, to me, it's not serious. To me, that's not a serious investment. To me, that's just a kind of a legacy crypto thing that's still like floating around. And so can you trade it up and down? Will it increase in price in dollars? Maybe. Like everything is going to increase in price in dollars because they're never going to stop printing dollars. But to me, that's not like a real thing. And so that shows to me that there's still a lot of confusion out there as far as like what gets listed. And obviously like exchanges just want volume. Like they just want volume on everything. But that's an example of just kind of how easy it is. Like this happened to me when I first opened a Coinbase account back in the day. You know, you're buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin all at the same time without really understanding the differentiators between the two. And now we've come such a long way that you can understand the differentiators between the two. So I'd say on the crypto side, if you're trying to play that game of picking the right cryptos without having a core Bitcoin position, not really the best like idea, because there's signposts showing that consensus is building that Bitcoin itself is still like a really, really, really big thing and kind of the tip of the spear for everything growing, both from the TradFi side and the crypto side.